your candidate lost the election, you owe gambling debts to the mafia, or you just need a new start. Whatever the case, it's time to emigrate. Unfortunately, it's never as easy as just picking a place and moving. Some countries make it impossible for foreigners to gain permanent residency. Others open their arms to candidates. Now, for your sake, we're going to take a look at the latter by breaking down the 11 easiest countries to emigrate to. Number 11. Malta. Everyone loved the movie Call Me By Your Name. Was it the directing, the acting, the narrative? No, people just love the look at the Italian countryside. Set any movie there, and people will rave that it's a breathtakingly beautiful film. But Italian immigration is too complicated. Instead, just move to the 3 islands settled in the Mediterranean below it. Malta has all the breathtaking beauty and sand dollar beaches, the houses built into caves, the quaint roads, and the history that Italy has with half the fuss. If you are a Euro national, this is the place for you. All you need is a job offer. Easily visit with any valid passport, stake out your beachfront property, talk to a few people, get an offer, and you're on your way. If you are not a citizen of the EU, it gets a little trickier, but well worth the effort. On top of the basics, you will also need to submit references and a CV. Your employer will have to send over a cover letter explaining your professional duties and abilities. Basically, like most countries, they want to make sure you will be a plus in their skilled labor division. Then, visit, get your job offer, and enjoy the Italian countryside. Number 10. Singapore. The city-state below Malaysia has one of the fastest growing economies in the world, and also a lenient permanent residence program. In contrast to the clean silver skyscrapers, Singapore is also home to unique bursts of colors. Historic gardens and marinas play largely into the culture of the island. Here's the good news. Singapore will most likely give you a visit visa that is good for a year. If you can find a job and show you have been working for 6 months in the country, you can apply for permanent residence. Here's what separates Singapore though. The unemployment rate is 2%. It's one of the lowest in the entire world. So if you have any skills or experience, finding a job will be easier than most countries. You can also fast-track the process by starting and running a business in Singapore. They also have a foreign artistic talent scheme to help implement talent into the local scheme. The cost of living is higher than most places on the list, but so is the quality of life. Plus, it's one of the greenest cities on Earth, so you'd be doing your part by relocating there. Number 9. Canada. Canada is known as one of the most polite and welcoming countries in the world. It's no wonder their immigration policies reflect this. A massive country that spans across 6 time zones, Canada is sure to have any situation you are looking for, whether you want to live in a cutting-edge city like Toronto or out in the countryside. Like most situations, if you're skilled or rich, you can get in quick because you are considered an asset and a plus to the country. For the wealthy, simply invest $250 to $850K in an existing company or start your own leading to job creation and you're in. If you don't have that kind of coin, but do have the skills to compete, use the express entry system. Once you fill out the application, about 3,000 worthy applicants are plucked and given citizenship. For the rest of us, there is a trade agreement system. If you live in Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Iceland, Israel, Jordan, Mexico, Norway, Panama, Peru, Switzerland, or the US, and work for a company that has a base in Canada, you can do an intra-company transfer without a labor market opinion. Lastly, the old standby of a job offer and a work permit goes by clean as can be in Maple Leaf Land. Number 8. Mexico. Or maybe you want the weather a little warmer, in which case Mexico is your go-to American neighbor, home to the best tacos, tequilas, and horn sections in the world. Mexican culture is one of the liveliest on earth. Even deeper, a paper was published by the Center of Democracy that shows that Mexican elections were more independent, professional, and nonpartisan than American elections. Despite a growing economy, Mexico maintains a low cost of living while providing excellent healthcare. Add in beautiful beaches, and it's no wonder Mexico is a destination for everyone. If you have family in the country, you can take residence with very little paperwork. Otherwise, you will have to get a work visa. As long as you can prove you are working in Mexico, you don't have to deal with too much assessment. For people who are retired or freelancers, you just have to prove you make at least $2,000 a month, sometimes higher, to gain residency. These are not the only options though. More and more people are living in Mexico part-time. This is because if you are visiting Mexico for leisure or business, and that stay lasts less than 6 months, you do not require a visa of any time. Many Americans and Canadians and even Europeans have started to split their time between their home country and a life in Mexico with almost no hassle involved. In addition to all these options, Mexico recently passed laws to induct a point system, but this ratification has not gone into effect yet. Number 7. Sweden. Whoa, Sweden? Most people see Sweden as a Scandinavian paradise of beautiful people living pristine lives, and they are correct. Another draw of Sweden is they continue to exhibit and develop the most progressive politics in the world, which is why one might be surprised to learn it's actually one of the easiest places to immigrate to in Europe. In fact, if you are an EU citizen, you have something called right of residence, which means you can live there and even open a business without ever applying for a residence card. For those outside of Europe, it's much more strenuous. As long as you can prove you are a relative to someone studying or working in the country, your application will be accepted without strict assessment. Just know once you are inside, you will have to deal with the high cost of living and tax rate. Number 6. Japan. To be honest, Japan is not the easiest place to immigrate to, but if you are looking for a first world Asian location, it is probably your best bet. In fact, Japan used to be infamous to being closed off to foreigners, but the appeal has always been there for migrators. For one, it is one of the safest countries in the world. Culturally, harmony is one of the utmost importance, and isn't that what we all want, to live in harmony? Finally, the technology and jobs available are on the cutting edge of civilization. Now, to the benefit of the rest of the world, Japan is aging. There's now more elderly people than children. Due to this development, Japan is opening its doors to skilled individuals who can renovate the workplace. For the most part, they are looking for highly skilled workers, that is to say engineers, specialists, international services, etc. Here is your in though: teaching a language. If you can speak your own language in a native tongue, especially English, Japan will fast-track your work visa. Once you are inside, you can work towards obtaining a permanent job and residency. Number 5. New Zealand. After seeing the green sweeping mountainscape cinematography of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, so many people applied to live in New Zealand that the shy island notoriously closed itself off. 90-mile beaches, the world's most incredible landscapes, and a delightful offbeat culture, it would be hard to blame them for trying to preserve it. A decade later, the climate has changed. The Auckland has started to accept many more applicants due to a skills shortage. The country is now seeking skilled individuals to reinvigorate the workplace and keep the place afloat. The New Zealand government has published a list of both immediate and long-term skills needed. If you satisfy any of these shortages, they will fast-track your residency. If you are unskilled, you will have to go to the standard and more exclusive route of a basic work visa. If you are an Australian or United Kingdom citizen, you can actually stay in New Zealand for 6 months without a visa. If your country has a waiver agreement, you can stay 3 months, which is just enough time to network. Number 4. Panama. Relocation to Panama is skyrocketing through the 2000s. For the explorers out there, Panama offers some of the most diverse geological and biological landscapes in the world. Many see this tropical paradise as an ideal retirement destination. Simply put, it's beautiful, it's cheap, and people speak English. Fortunately, there are 8 different ways to obtain permanent visas. Foremost, Panama actually has a retiree visa for those that have a minimum pension of $1,000 a month. This visa also gives you discounts to movie theaters, restaurants, hotels, etc. Second easiest, if you are currently a resident of one of the 48 nations that Panama considers friendly, you are securing a job or opening a business away from permanent residency. One of the most interesting visas allows you to invest a minimum of $80,000 in a restoration project to obtain your visa. A great way to charity your way into a new home. Number 3. Roatan. One of the Caribbean islands above Honduras, is technically not a country, but don't let that stop you from taking permanent residence there. The laws for obtaining a visa are as lenient as the lifestyle here. If you can prove that you bring in at least $2,500 a month or $1,500 on a pension, you're in. In order to get a work residency, you will need to pass some assessment from the government as be sponsored by your current company, which can't be a hassle. However, the Roatan Marine Park has an amazing program where they will give you residency as long as you train to be a dive master. The 40-mile island is populated with 35 different dive shops that need experienced instructors. You could go from boring gray office job to deep sea diving for money in the Caribbean in 3 months. It doesn't get much better immigration-wise. Number 2. Ecuador. From 2014 to 2015, Internations named Ecuador the top expat destination. Quality of life, cost of living, and personal finances as features that distinguish it from the pack. Ecuadorian lifestyle is also considered to be as active and healthy as any country on Earth. Finally, it is home to a surprising amount of microclimates, so there is something for everyone. The Republic of Ecuador has a pretty standard immigration policy, except that it is significantly more affordable to buy your way in. You are only required a monthly income of $800, something that almost all pensions and most freelance jobs will cover. Some countries will run you $250 to $5 million in investment for a residency visa. At $25,000, the Ecuador investment program is a steal. Rounding out the options are entry for people with technical experience, religious workers, journalists, or simply having a recognized college degree and wish to practice your profession in the country. Number 1. Bahrain. This place is 33 islands above Equator. It's considered by some to be the original location for the Garden of Eden. It is no wonder Internations named the lush, booming country the #1 destination for expats in 2017. Bahrain began as a crucial, high-traffic port city in the Middle Ages and has quietly expanded ever since. Many consider Bahrain to be the friendliest, most welcoming, progressive, and diverse of the Arab countries. To get there permanently, you're going to need a work visa. This is a situation where visiting the country on a standard passport and networking is necessary, but oh so worth it. At any time, it is Bahrain's directive to have at least half of the workforce comprised of Bahraini citizens. Considering its spike in popularity, this is one destination you might want to jump on now before the slots are gone. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.